The stadium lights dim, the roar of the purple ocean fades into a breathless silence, and in the center of it all stands one man who has captured the hearts of millions across the globe, Jeon Jungkook, the Golden Maknae. The man who seems to possess everything, the voice of an angel, the physique of a Greek god, and a charm that transcends language barriers. But have you ever stopped to wonder what lies beneath that perfect, polished idol exterior? We obsess over his ideal type, the long hair, the singing voice, the ability to cook, but we rarely dare to ask the darker, more critical question: what are the absolute deal breakers? What are the red flags that would make this Virgo perfectionist turn his back and walk away without a second glance? This isn't just about petty preferences. This is a psychological deep dive into the mind of a superstar who has grown up under the microscope of fame. From his days as a shy, doe-eyed teenager in Busan to becoming the tattooed king of pop, his standards have evolved, hardened, and become incredibly specific. We are about to peel back the layers of interviews, analyze subtle fan sign interactions, and decode years of Run BTS footage to uncover the truth. Is it a lack of hygiene? A specific type of arrogance? Or something much more subtle that reveals his true character? Tonight, we aren't just looking at who he loves, we are exposing the traits he absolutely cannot stand. Are you brave enough to find out if you fall into the rejected category? Prepare your heart's army, because this is the ultimate guide to the boundaries of Jeon Jungkook. Number 7. The hygiene and scent neglector. The olfactory nightmare, the walking red flag of bad odor, the enemy of the laundry fairy. Let's be brutally honest right out of the gate, because we are dealing with a man whose entire existence is practically synonymous with the concept of freshness. And if you think this is a superficial point, you clearly haven't been paying attention to the intricate psychological profile of Jeon Jungkook for the past decade. We are talking about the man who single-handedly caused a nationwide shortage of a specific brand of fabric softener, Downy Adorable, just by casually mentioning he uses it to do his laundry. Gave a moment that wasn't just a marketing fluke, but a profound window into his soul and his absolute non-negotiable requirement for a clean, scented environment. Jungkook is a Virgo, the ultimate perfectionist of the zodiac, and while he can be chaotic in his playfulness, his physical realm is governed by a strict code of sensory delight, meaning a woman who neglects her hygiene, smells off, or treats self-care as an afterthought isn't just unattractive to him, she is genuinely repulsive to his heightened senses. Imagine the scenario. He leans in, arguably the most desired man on the planet, expecting a waft of floral sweetness or clean soap, but is met with the stale scent of unwashed hair or a lack of deodorant. It's not just a turn-off, it's a deal-breaker that sends him running faster than he runs on a treadmill during a live performance. This isn't about being high maintenance or needing expensive perfumes. It's about the fundamental discipline of cleanliness that Jungkook embodies in his own life. Look at the Bon Voyage series or In the Soup. While other members might be relaxing, Jungkook is often the one seen meticulously doing laundry, organizing his toiletries, or ensuring his space is tidy because for him, cleanliness is next to godliness, and a partner who lives in squalor or smells like a gym locker without the excuse of a world tour performance would shatter his peace of mind instantly. We have to remember that Jungkook has lived in a dorm with 6 other men for over a decade, dealing with the chaos of shared spaces. And in that chaos, he carved out a sanctuary of scents. He collects perfumes. He loves candles. He's obsessed with body washes that smell like fruits or fresh linen. His nose is practically a superpower, capable of detecting subtle notes and shifts in atmosphere, so a woman who doesn't prioritize smelling good is essentially invisible to his romantic radar. It goes deeper than just surface smells. It's about what hygiene represents: self-respect, attention to detail, and consideration for those around you. Jungkook is a man who notices the smallest things, the way a person carries themselves, and if that carriage is clouded by a lack of freshness, he can't connect. He has mentioned in interviews that he likes women with nice skin and a healthy appearance, traits that are directly linked to how well one takes care of themselves. Think about his golden closet studio. It's filled with air purifiers and carefully managed tech. He doesn't do messy in the places that matter. If a girl leaves her clothes in a heap, doesn't brush her teeth obsessively, remember how aggressively he brushes his teeth? A, or treats a shower as optional, she is clashing with his core programming. There is a famous clip where he is sniffing the members or commenting on scents. He seeks that olfactory comfort. To date, Jungkook is to embrace the lifestyle of the laundry fairy, where smelling like a soft cloud of cotton and sunshine is the baseline requirement. You could have the prettiest face and soul, but if you carry the scent of negligence, the door to the Golden Maknae's heart is slammed shut, locked, and fumigated. This type of woman represents chaos to his order, a disruption to his sensory haven, and for a global superstar who is constantly sweating and working in gritty environments, his partner must be his oasis of purity, though not another source of grime. It is a harsh reality, but for Jeon Jungkook, love must smell like paradise, and anything less is simply a stinky mistake he will never make. Number 6. The rude and entitled diva, the destroyer of social harmony, the nightmare of service staff. The disrespectful queen of bad manners, the eraser of etiquette, the absolute antithesis of the 90-degree bow. If there is one thing that defines Jeon Jungkook almost as much as his singing voice, it is his legendary, unwavering politeness that has been captured on cameras from every angle for over a decade, making this specific type of woman not just a mismatch, but a mortal enemy to his core values. We are talking about the human greeting machine, the superstar who, despite being at the absolute pinnacle of global fame, still bows a full 90 degrees to rookie idols, security guards, and cleaning staff alike, creating a standard of humility that is terrifyingly high. A woman who walks through the world with a sense of entitlement, who snaps her fingers at waiters, rolls her eyes at elders, or treats service workers as invisible entities, is the fastest way to make Jungkook's attraction evaporate into thin air. You have to understand the cultural and personal context here. Jungkook was raised in Busan with traditional values where respect is the currency of society, and he has maintained that rookie mindset of gratitude even when wearing a Rolex worth more than a house. Imagine the sheer horror of a date scenario where Jungkook, the man who was famously filmed helping staff pick up trash at the ISAC, Idol Star Athletics Championships, when no one else was looking, watches his date berate a taxi driver or complain loudly about the food in a disrespectful tone. It wouldn't just be awkward, it would be a fundamental character violation that he cannot abide. He is extremely observant. His eyes, often described as doe-like, are actually hawk-like when scanning a room, and he watches how people interact with the little people because he knows that is the true measure of a person's soul. In multiple interviews, BTS members have hinted that character in-song is paramount, and for Jungkook, who is sensitive to the energy of a room, being a rude woman brings a toxic cloud that suffocates his playful spirit. This is a man who helps cameramen with their wires, who helps move heavy props on set, who apologizes when he makes a mistake. He embodies the phrase, "manners maketh man," so a woman who lacks these basic manners is essentially speaking a foreign language of arrogance that he refuses to learn. Think about the hidden camera pranks from their rookie days. Even when put in stressful situations, Jungkook remained polite and confused rather than angry or entitled, proving that kindness is his default setting, not a performance. If a girl acts like a Karen, thinking the world owes her something, she is directly insulting the years of hard work and humility Jungkook has put into his career. He needs a partner who can stand by his side and greet the president and the janitor with the exact same level of warmth and respect. It is about emotional intelligence. A rude woman shows a lack of empathy, and Jungkook is an empath who feels things deeply. If she cannot say thank you, please, or sorry with sincerity, she is simply a jagged rock in his smooth golden world. He protects his inner circle fiercely, and he would never bring someone into the BTS family who would disrespect his hyungs or the staff who helped raise him. The entitled diva might think she is showing power or high standards, but to Jeon Jungkook, she is showing an ugly heart, and no amount of makeup or designer clothes can cover the stench of a bad personality. He wants a girl who is kind when no one is watching, just like him. To date the King of Hearts, you must first be the Queen of Kindness, because for Jungkook, rudeness is the ultimate ugliness. Number 5. The lazy and passionless dream killer, the couch potato of doom, the anchor that sinks his ambition. The stagnant soul with no hobbies, the enemy of growth, the antithesis of the golden mindset. Now we descend into the psychological bedrock of what makes Jeon Jungkook tick, and we confront a personality type that stands in direct opposition to the ink permanently etched onto his skin and the fire burning in his blood. We are talking about the passionless zombie, the woman who has no dreams, no drive, no hobbies, and is content to simply exist rather than truly live. You have to look at the undeniable evidence. On his arm, in bold, unforgiving script, rests the Nirvana quote that defines his entire philosophy: rather be dead than cool. For Jungkook, cool in this context implies a state of detachment, of not caring, of lacking the heat of passion, and he would literally rather die than live a life devoid of that burning intensity. He is the Golden Maknae not by accident, but by a relentless, almost terrifying pursuit of self-improvement. This is the man who stays up until 4 a.m. editing Golden Closet films frame by frame, who picks up boxing and becomes a pro-level striker in months, who decides to learn drums, guitar, and cooking simply because he wants to master the world around him. A woman who spends her days doing absolutely nothing, who has no interests outside of scrolling through her phone, who lacks a thing that makes her eyes sparkle, would drain the life force right out of him. Jungkook finds attractiveness in competence and dedication. He has explicitly stated in the past that he likes someone who is good at what they do, someone he can learn from, someone who challenges him. Imagine the dynamic. He comes home buzzing with adrenaline from a recording session or a grueling boxing workout, eyes wide with the thrill of progress, and he is met with a partner who is essentially a lump of moss, indifferent to the world, offering nothing but apathy. It would be suffocating. He needs a muse, a rival, a partner in crime who has her own world, her own victories, and her own struggles. The lazy girl who relies entirely on him for entertainment and validation is a parasite to his creativity. Remember, Jungkook is a mirror. He reflects the energy around him, and if he is surrounded by stagnation, he feels trapped. He respects the grind look at how he looks up to RM, Namjoon, for his intellect, or Suga for his production skills. He craves excellence. A relationship with Jungkook isn't just about cuddling, it's about mutual evolution. He wants to be able to say, wow, she's amazing at painting, or she works so hard at her job, because that mutual respect is his aphrodisiac. If you are the type of girl who gives up the moment things get hard, who says, I can't before trying, or who mocks people for trying too hard, you are insulting the very DNA of BTS. He has spent his youth sweating blood and tears to reach the stars. He cannot tether himself to a rock that refuses to move. This isn't about being a CEO or a superstar, it's about having a spark. Whether it's baking, coding, gardening, or studying, he needs to see that fire in your eyes. Without it, you are just a beautiful shell, and for a man who seeks depth and meaning in every lyric he sings and every beat he dances to, a hollow shell is the most boring thing in the universe. He fears boredom, he fears stagnation, and a passionless woman is the physical embodiment of his worst nightmare, a life wasted. He would try to encourage her at first, being the supportive angel he is, but eventually, the gap between his supersonic speed of life and her stationary existence would tear them apart. To be with the man who runs forward, you don't have to run as fast as him, but you must at least be moving, because Jeon Jungkook does not wait for those who refuse to walk. Number 4. The clingy and possessive freedom snatcher, the destroyer of solitude, the nightmare of the independent spirit. We are now crossing into the danger zone of Jeon Jungkook's psychological makeup, hitting a nerve that is so sensitive, so fundamental to his existence, that triggering it would cause an immediate and irreversible shutdown of any romantic potential. We are talking about the clingy jailer, the type of woman who demands 24/7's attention, who suffocates him with texts, who tracks his every move, and who simply does not understand the sacred art of being alone. To understand why this is such a catastrophic mismatch, you have to look at the man's life history and his personality type, which has fluctuated between INTP and ISFP, both introverted types that require massive amounts of recharge time to function. Jungkook has lived his entire adolescence and young adulthood under the strictest surveillance imaginable. He has managers telling him when to wake up, security guards watching him use the bathroom, cameras tracking his face at the airport, and millions of fans analyzing his every blink. His life is a gilded cage of scheduling and observation. Therefore, in his private life, the one thing he craves more than anything else, more than food, more than video games, is absolute unadulterated freedom. He needs to be able to breathe without permission. A woman who acts like a second manager asking, "Where are you? Who are you with? Why didn't you reply in 5 minutes?" Represents the very chains he tries to escape when he steps off stage. We have seen the evidence of his need for solitude countless times. Think about his legendary ghosting habits in the BTS group chat. The members have publicly complained for years that Jungkook is the hardest to reach, that he doesn't reply to texts, that he lives in his own world. This isn't because he doesn't care. It's because he protects his mental space fiercely. If his own beloved brothers, the men he would die for, get ignored when he needs his space, what chance does a clingy girlfriend have? She would be fighting a losing battle against his nature. Look at his late-night Weverse lives those 4-hour marathons where he sings karaoke alone, drinks a highball in silence, or even falls asleep in front of millions. While it looks like he is sharing himself, it is actually a paradox. He is alone in his room, controlling the environment, doing exactly what he wants, when he wants. He is the king of his own castle in those moments. A clingy partner would intrude on that golden closet sanctuary, demanding to be the center of attention when he just wants to zone out and play Overwatch for 6 hours straight. Jungkook is a man of intense hobbies: boxing, cooking, editing, painting, and these are solitary pursuits. He enters a flow state where the rest of the world ceases to exist. A woman who cannot entertain herself, who sits outside his door pouting, or who guilt trips him for spending time on his passions, is essentially telling him to stop being himself. He has described his ideal date as playing games together or just being in the same space. He wants a parallel play dynamic where you can be together but separate, connected by presence but not by constant demand. The possessive jailer destroys this peace. She brings drama, anxiety, and the feeling of being trapped, which is the ultimate trigger for a Sagittarius rising or a freedom-loving spirit. Remember his solo camping trips? The way he looked so at peace staring into the fire? That is the baseline of his soul, a quiet, contemplative independence. He cannot handle emotional heaviness or a partner who uses tears as a weapon to get attention. He needs a low-maintenance love, a partner who is secure enough to say, "Go have fun, see you later," and actually mean it. If you are the type to check his phone, to get jealous of his time with Bam, his dog, or to demand he prioritizes you over his much-needed decompression time, you are not just annoying him, now you are terrifying him. You are becoming another shackle in a life that is already heavy with responsibility. Jungkook runs away from pressure. He is the Run BTS champion, literally and metaphorically. If he feels the walls closing in, if he feels the weight of expectation from a partner who relies on him for their emotional stability, he will sprint in the opposite direction. He wants a partner, not a prisoner, and certainly not a warden. He wants to come back to you because he times wants times 2, not because he is times obligated times 2. The clingy woman kills the mystery, kills the longing, and kills the romance by trying to force it. For Jeon Jungkook, love is a bird that needs to fly free to return to the nest. If you clip its wings or put it in a cage of possessiveness, it will die. He needs a woman who is an ocean deep, vast, and calm, not a sticky swamp that drags him down. Independence is the sexiest trait to a man who belongs to the world, and if you can't give him the gift of space, you will never receive the gift of his heart. Number 3. The judgmental critic of self-expression, the enemy of his artistic soul, the hater of the inked revolution. The conservative traditionalist who wants the old. Jungkook back. The destroyer of his individuality. The woman who loves the idol but hates the man. We have arrived at the podium of heartbreak, tackling a specific type of rejection that cuts deeper than any knife because it targets the very essence of Jeon Jungkook's identity evolution. We are talking about the judgmental traditionalist, the woman who fell in love with the innocent, doe-eyed, coconut-haired boy from No More Dream, and refuses to accept the tattooed, pierced, long-haired rock star he has fought to become. To understand the gravity of this, you must rewind the tape and witness the war Jeon Jungkook waged for his own skin. This is the man who single-handedly challenged the rigid, conservative beauty standards of the K-pop industry, where idols are expected to be porcelain dolls, untouched and pristine. When Jungkook first started revealing his ink, the army on his knuckles, the purple heart, The crown, the intricate sleeve that tells the story of his life, he wasn't just getting body art, he was making a declaration of independence. He faced immense criticism, had to wear long sleeves in scorching summer heat, and wore bandages on television to hide his true self from a society that wasn't ready. Now, imagine he brings a woman into his private world, rolls up his sleeves to relax, and sees a flicker of disgust, or hears a comment like, "You looked better without them." Or, "Why did you ruin your skin?" It wouldn't just be an insult, it would be a betrayal of his entire journey into adulthood. Jungkook is an artist in every sense of the word, an ISFP adventurer, and his body is his canvas. Every drop of ink, from the tiger lily, his birth flower, to the clock revealing his birth time, is a piece of his soul made visible. A woman who judges his tattoos, his lip ring, his eyebrow piercing, or his ever-changing hairstyles is essentially telling him that she loves the Times product, times Jeon Jungkook, not the Times person, times Jeon Jungkook. He has explicitly stated in live streams that he does what he wants because it's his life, showing a stubborn, beautiful defiance against control. He needs a partner who traces those tattoos with admiration, who understands the stories behind them, not someone who wishes he would scrub them off to fit a conservative mold. This judgmental critic represents the stifling pressure of the public eye that he tries to escape. If his girlfriend acts like a strict netizen or a controlling manager, policing his appearance and making him feel dirty or rebellious for simply expressing himself, the relationship is dead on arrival. We have to remember the context of his wolf-cut era, or when he grew his hair out long and wavy, he was glowing with confidence, finally feeling like himself. A partner who tries to trim his wings or his hair to make him more palatable to her friends or parents is attacking his freedom. Jungkook is a man who thrives on acceptance. He knows he is different. He knows he is breaking barriers. He needs a ride or die who finds his rebellion sexy, not shameful. Think of the psychological toll of being told by the world what to look like for 10 years. He will not tolerate it in his own home. He wants a woman who looks at his sleeve and sees art, looks at his piercings and sees courage, and looks at him and sees the man he times chose, times to be, not the boy he was times told times to be. The critic creates an environment of judgment, and for a free spirit like Jungkook, judgment is kryptonite. He wants to be able to wake up, messy hair, tattoos exposed, and feel like the most beautiful person in the room in her eyes. If she winces, if she sighs, if she makes him feel like a bad boy in a negative way, she proves she doesn't deserve the Golden Maknae. He is looking for a muse who celebrates his edges, not a sculptor trying to smooth him back down into a generic block of marble. To date, Jungkook is to date the entire package: the ink, the metal, the scars, and the history. And if you can't handle the heat of his self-expression, you absolutely do not belong in his kitchen. Number 2. The calculated manipulator and the fake persona, the wearer of masks, the enemy of sincerity. The inauthentic actress who plays games, the strategist of love, the woman whose heart is a locked room. Here we are, at the runner-up spot for the ultimate deal-breaker, and we are confronting the absolute kryptonite to Jeon Jungkook's soul, the fake, calculated manipulator. To understand why this triggers a catastrophic emotional shutdown in him, you have to look at the fundamental core of his being. Jeon Jungkook is incapable of lying. We have seen it for over a decade in every single episode of Run BTS, every interview, and every candid moment. When he tries to lie, his ears turn bright red, his voice goes up an octave, his eyes dart around in panic, and he stutters like a broken engine. He is chemically and biologically wired for honesty. He is the transparent idol, the man who turns on a live stream at 3 a.m. just to fold laundry or sleep in front of millions because he refuses to present a curated, polished, fake version of his life to the people he loves. Therefore, a woman who is sus, a woman who wears a mask, a woman who calculates her texts, curates her personality, or plays hard to get as a strategy, is not just unappealing, she is terrifying to him. In the high-stakes world of K-pop, Jungkook is surrounded by people who want something from him, people who smile with their mouths but calculate with their eyes, and his home life must be the one place where the masks come off. If he senses that you are acting, even if it's just to impress him, his walls go up instantly. He has the intuition of a wild animal. He can smell inauthenticity like a shark smells blood. Think about his lyrics. Think about the raw emotion in The Truth Untold. He fears the mask. He fears the idea that he cannot show his true self, and conversely, he fears a partner who is hiding behind one. The calculated manipulator is the type of girl who waits 3 hours to text back on purpose to make him chase her, who pretends to like anime just because he does, or who molds her opinions to match his to avoid conflict. To Jungkook, this isn't trying to be compatible, it's lying. He values just being natural above almost everything else. He wants to see you messy, he wants to see you cranky, he wants to see the real, unvarnished human being, not a PR-trained robot. If he feels like he is dating a reflection or a strategy, he feels lonely. He has spoken about how he can feel when people are not being genuine, and it makes him retreat into his shell. A woman who is two-faced sweet to him, but cold to others, or acting different when the cameras are off shatters his trust completely. Remember, he is a Virgo, an observer of details. He notices the micro-expressions, the pauses, the shifts in tone. You cannot outsmart him emotionally because he feels things too deeply. A fake woman makes him feel like he is working, like he is back at a press conference where he has to watch his words. In a relationship, he wants to be the boy from Busan, not the global superstar VIP. He wants to be able to be stupid, to make mistakes, and he needs a partner who is equally raw and vulnerable. If you are guarding your heart with layers of manipulation, thinking you are protecting yourself or looking cool, you are actually locking him out. He would rather have a brutal truth than a beautiful lie. He would rather you say, "I'm angry," than pretend "I'm fine" with a passive-aggressive smile. The game player exhausts him. He doesn't have the energy to decode your hidden messages. He pours all his energy into his art and his performance. When he comes to you, he wants the simplicity of truth. If you bring mind games, if you bring calculation, if you bring the toxicity of push and pull, you are bringing the very poison he has spent his life trying to avoid. To date Jungkook, you must be brave enough to be naked in your soul, because if you are wearing a costume of personality, he will see the zipper, and he will walk away without looking back. Number 1. The clout-chasing betrayer, and the army antagonist, the exploiter of fame, the ultimate trust shatterer. This is it, the absolute nuclear option of deal breakers, the trait that stands as the undisputed champion of Jeon Jungkook's hatred, a darkness so profound that it eclipses every other flaw we have discussed combined. We are talking about the fame leech, the woman who sees Jeon Jungkook not as a human being with a beating heart, but as a trophy, a ladder to social media relevance, and a transaction for clout, while simultaneously harboring a deep-seated jealousy or disrespect for the most important relationship in his life, his bond with Army. To understand the catastrophic magnitude of this rejection, you must first look at the man's right hand. Look closely at the knuckles. What do you see? You see ARMY permanently etched into his skin, literally branded onto the very instrument he uses to hold a microphone, to eat, to wave, to live. This is not a sticker. It is a blood oath. Jungkook has stated explicitly, time and time again, that his fans are his everything, his main character, the reason he breathes and sings. He has spent over a decade building a symbiotic relationship of pure love and gratitude with millions of people. Now, imagine a woman who enters his life and tries to compete with that. Imagine a partner who rolls her eyes when he starts a Weverse live at 2 a.m., who makes snide comments about his fans being obsessive, or who tries to guilt-trip him for prioritizing a concert over a date night. This jealous antagonist is fighting a war she has already lost before the first battle cry. Jungkook is fiercely protective of his fans. He treats them like family, and anyone who insults his family is instantly an enemy. But it gets darker. The true horror of number 1 is the clout chaser, the woman who is with him for the wrong reasons. We have to remember that Jungkook lives in a world of extreme paranoia regarding privacy. He has had his personal information leaked. He has had people stalking his gym. He has had his private moments invaded. His home is his sanctuary, his fortress of solitude. A woman who takes a sneak photo of him sleeping to show her friends, who leaks a private text message to prove she knows him, or who drops hints on Instagram just to gain followers, is committing the ultimate betrayal. For Jungkook, trust is a non-renewable resource. Once it is broken, it is gone forever. He has an incredibly sharp intuition for people who are using him. He knows that his name carries weight, he knows that being Jungkook's girlfriend would make someone instantly famous, and he terrifies the thought of being reduced to a stepping stone. This type of woman represents the commodification of his humanity. She strips away his personhood and turns him into content. Think about the lyrics of Decalcomania, or his covers where he pours his heart out about loneliness and the search for something real. The user mocks that vulnerability. She is the snake in the garden. Even worse is the woman who is jealous of his success or tries to control his career, the one who whispers in his ear that he should do less, that he owes the fans nothing. This is a direct attack on his passion. Jungkook is a perfectionist who pushes his body to the limit because he wants to give back to the world. A partner who doesn't respect that work ethic, who doesn't understand the blood, sweat, and tears that built BTS, is simply incompatible with his reality. He needs a safe harbor, a woman who is a vault of secrets, who values his privacy as much as he does, and who loves the man Jeon Jungkook, the guy who folds underwear and cooks ramen, and not the global icon Jungkook of BTS. The clout chaser loves the icon but doesn't care about the man. She wants the red carpets, the Gucci gifts, and the headlines, but she doesn't want the 4 a.m. exhaustion, the injuries, or the mental burden. Jungkook can smell this opportunism from a mile away. He watches how you treat his privacy. Do you put your phone away when you are with him, or are you itching to post a story? Do you ask about his day, or do you ask about the other members? Do you respect his love for ARMY, or do you try to belittle it to make yourself feel more special? The woman who tries to force him to choose between her and his fans, or the woman who uses his secrets as social currency, is the embodiment of pure evil in his narrative. He would rather be alone for eternity than share his bed with a spy, a traitor, or a user. This is the ultimate red line. To date the king, you must be a queen of discretion and a guardian of his peace. If you are there for the fame, or if you disrespect the purple ocean that raised him, you are not just rejected, you are exiled from his universe forever. This is the standard. This is the law of Jeon Jungkook. And that, dear readers, is the tragedy of number 1. The woman who had the world in her hands but lost it all because she loved the spotlight more than she loved the man holding it.